Okay, are we all good to go? Shall we start now?
Yes, Dr. Joshi, I think we should start now. Our
Okay,
attendees are waiting.
okay, perfect.
Mr. Vadvani, you can log off and log in again. That will also help. Yeah.
We can wait 30 more seconds, then we can start.
We'll start after 2 minutes.
Oh, okay.
Mr. Pankaj, you please do not use this blur. Means it's actually affecting. So use your plain background, which whatever it is.
Okay.
Yeah, perfect.
I think we should start.
Okay, let's start. Let's start.
Please check with Mr.
Yeah,
Vadvani once again.
Mr. Vadvani, I can see a pin which says there is a means you cannot you mean there is a issue with the settings. Can you check your mic once? Means
So you can speak to him on phone. We can start maybe. What do you think?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
let's start.
Let's ladies and gentlemen, please mute your mics. So we can start now. Okay. Hello everyone. Thank you all for joining us today in this webinar. My name is Dr. Suresh Joshi, and I'm the host and the moderator for today's webinar. I'm working as a professor and deputy director at the Center for Continuing Education, University of Petroleum and Energy Studies in Dehradun, in the beautiful state of Uttarakhand. I come from a diverse educational background in educational technology, educational psychology, and learning design and technology. I have around 26 years of experience in classroom teaching in India as well as in the US. I have published around more than 40 research papers in different journals of international repute and of high impact factor, and have published 4 books on the subjects I have taught. I am a Center for Teaching Excellence certified instructor from Texas A&M University in the US, and I'm a Fulbright scholar. Talking about the Center for Continuing Education, popularly known as CCE, we offer highly specialized, industry-driven distance and online learning management programs, which focus on key domains such as power management, aviation, that is now the modified name is there in airport transport management, logistics and supply chain, international business, oil and gas, infrastructure management, and industrial safety. So, ladies and gentlemen, these programs immensely help industry people and working professionals develop their skills, grow in their areas of expertise, and take their professional careers to the next level. CCE is recognized as Center of Excellence in providing access to blended education for working professionals in India as well as abroad. We have a network of around more than 5,500 alumni who are working in top organizations across the globe. Yeah, I can see now. Perfect. Excuse me. Now, this is the time to welcome our speakers for today's webinar. Our first speaker for today's webinar, do we have Mr. Vadvani here right now? Mr. Vadvani, were you able to join us? Okay, we can talk to Mr. Vadvani in a bit. So our first speaker for today's webinar is Mr. Pankaj Tiwari, who is an air cargo SME and a lead business analysis at Bengaluru, Karnataka. Mr. Tiwari has 11 plus years of experience in functional consulting, business analysis, procurement, inventory management, logistic, and supply chain management. He is an expert in transport management systems, which is popularly known as TMS, and enterprise resource planning, ERP, and application software design for freight forwards and carriers. He has analyzed processes for several things, including Genesis logistic management systems, cable forwarding, e-trans, and Akinture. I'm sorry about that. If I'm not able to, pronounce these well. You can correct those later, Mr. Tiwari. That is connected to freight and logistics software. I think the name of the company is Akinture, and pricing, reservations, and operations, which is popularly known as TMS for carriers. And lastly, but not the least, he has been engaged in SAP material management. Again, that is related to ERP. So our second speaker for this evening, and welcome, Mr. Tiwari, for this webinar. And we thank you for sparing your time for this webinar.
Thank you so much, Dr. Suresh.
Yeah. And now our second speaker for today's webinar, ladies and gentlemen, he is a man of expertise in logistic and supply chain management. So let me welcome Mr. Wadhwani, Mr. Vijay Wadhwani. Mr. Wadhwani, are you there? Were you able to join us? Okay, so let me introduce Mr. Wadhwani. He is an IIM graduate. He does not need any introduction, but for the sake of our information, I will introduce him here. And Mr. Wadhwani has a rich experience in logistic and supply chain management. He has been engaged in production planning, execution of several inventory management and transportation projects at IIM and beyond. And he has extensive experience in developing vendor identification chain and strength supply chain effectiveness. So I was talking about you, Mr. Wadhwani. Were you able to join? Are you audible right now? Can you just speak something? You are still not audible. We can't hear you. Sorry about that. Maybe we will check the audio from the IT end. So anyway, you can hear me, right? Okay. Welcome, Mr. Wadhwani, and thank you so much for your time for this webinar. And now, ladies and gentlemen, we have our own in-house expert for today's webinar, Dr. Shantanu Trivedi. He is an assistant professor at UPES, at CCE, UPES, and he's an vast experience in teaching and research, with previous experience as an assistant manager with a demonstrated history of working in supply chain training and educational management industry. And he is skilled in several things, ladies and gentlemen. Let me tell you, let me just count a few things here. He is skilled in operation management. He is skilled in supply chain optimization, requirement analysis, and multimodal transportation and international business. And since we work at the same department, so I know Dr. Shantanu very closely, and he has been a nice professional, and he's a highly skilled person. So thank you, Dr. Shantanu, for your time for today's webinar, and we will speak to you all in later.
Pleasure.
Yeah.
Sure.
Thanks. Okay. So, ladies and gentlemen, going ahead from here, in today's webinar, we are going to highlight several very, very important things. Number one, we are going to talk about the most important and effective digital transformations in supply chain management around the world, as well as in India. And we will talk about the challenges in supply chain management in India's logistic and supply chain sector, and the role technology can play, or technology has played, in driving that particular change. In addition, we are going to talk about the skills that are most in demand right now to excel in the area of logistic and supply chain sector. And moreover, we will talk about who are the key hiring companies in this particular sector. And in addition, at the end, maybe towards the end, we will talk about how an online MBA program or a digital learning MBA program can help you stand out from the whole competitions. So, and in between, we will talk about some other companies also, those who have been doing really well in the area of supply chain and management. So let me tell you about a few things very quickly, ladies and gentlemen. This webinar will be available on YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook, and Instagram pages of CCE. And we have let me just quickly see number of participants, and you can post questions. We have around 45 participants right now, and you can post questions in the chat box at any point of time. So we will take up all those questions time to time, but mostly we will come to those questions towards the end. I mean, but you are free to post questions, and if anyone is having any those kind of brain ready questions, please unmute yourself and you can ask those questions. And let's go ahead and talk to our experts of this evening. Mr. Balwani, are you able to, unmute yourself? Can we just do a quick check here? Mr. Balwani? I'm sorry about that.
I think he is again reconnecting. We can start
Okay.
with Mr.
Okay,
Pankaj.
perfect. Now, that's perfectly fine. So I will come to you later, Mr. Balwani. And my first question goes to Mr. Tiwari. Mr. Tiwari, what are the supply chain risks? Or rather, if we start with the role of technology in driving a particular change in the supply chain, in the what do we call it, supply chain management systems, and especially for the industries in Indian settings and their supply chains. Also, how e-commerce is becoming a decisive factor in supply chain needs in Indian settings.
Right. So thank you for the question, Dr. Joshi. So as far as the role of technology goes into supply chain. So it all started with material requirement planning, and now the supply chains have matured so much that most of the advanced technological advances are actually first being used in supply chains nowadays. So be it cloud computing, be it big data, because there is so much of information in the entire supply chains. So big data, quantum computing, all of the concepts, basically cloud computing, like everything is actually being utilized nowadays in supply chain. And it all so basically when we look at the information, there are different parts of information. There is supplier side information, then there is the manufacturer side information, there is the consumer side information. So now basically the challenge is to put all of this information together, and so basically the focus of the industry is how all of this can be integrated, and then an integrated platform can be provided to the industry. There are so many ERP providers, uh, E2 Open, JDA, SAP, Oracle, IBM, you name, like there are so many of them, all focusing on the supply chain softwares, all focusing on these ERPs nowadays. So it all started with likes of SAPs or IBMs with mainframes technologies, initially during the 60s and 70s, and the technology has advanced so much now. There
Right.
are Java based technologies, then recently because of the cloud computing in place, right, all the technological advances basically happening in supply chain. So this is the right time actually to be in the technological landscape of the supply chains, I would say. Now, with respect to e-commerce in India, it's been growing tremendously, and post pandemic and during pandemic, because of the social distancing norms, and because of basically the shutdowns, like it has boomed like anything. The e-commerce in India has boomed, and it's going to be the trend. The smartphone penetration is increasing, there is 5G coming up. So all of this is actually going to and then the literacy with respect to the technology, it's all basically going to bring a revolution in coming years, and the e-commerce market is going to you know uh, I would say double the size in upcoming,
Wow.
5 years. So, yep. So that's, about the e-commerce market, how it's going to be.
Right. Yeah, nice. I mean, what I have understood out of what you have explained, I mean, like, the technology is playing a crucial role in bringing the, supply chain management endeavors up. Is that what you're saying?
Absolutely.
Oh,
Yes.
wow. Thank you so much. I mean, that was really enriching. Now, Mr. Badwani, are you able to, unmute yourself? Not yet. Okay, so now, ladies and gentlemen, here I will bring our in-house expert, Dr. Shantanu, into the picture, into the discussion. So, Dr. Shantanu, I would, from an academic perspective, what have been the most crucial digital transformations in LSCM, which we call logistic supply chain management, and how these transformations are becoming significant in today's world?
Yeah, so thank you so much. So today's discussion, we started with the digital transformation, and we need to understand that we are talking about these days in the industry 4.0, that is the fourth industrial revolution. So the technology or the transformational technologies that have come in this fourth industrial revolutions, like Internet of Thing or IoT, we call it, or the artificial intelligence or AI ML, we call it. We have RFID, radio frequency identification devices, which are the tags that are placed in your even containers and your products even. So these are some of the technology. Drone delivery, I think you all might have watched that video on social media that in some Middle East country, delivery was being done, drone delivery was being done. And even in India, one pizza delivery company was started this initially. So there are, I mean, a lot of innovation in terms of digital transformation that are happening, and you can clearly that are clearly visible. You have advanced tracking system in place with GPS enabled trucks. You are getting fleet level information, big data analytics coming up in big way. Your modeling and simulation plays a very important role in supply chain. And even talking about not a very heavy software like MATLAB, but even your Excel based simulations, small simulations can create wonders in managing a lot of data and converting into a very valuable information for your organization. So these are some of the transformation that have come up in logistics and supply chain sector. One important transformation I would like to highlight here as well of the blockchain. So even here in blockchain, so many logistics company are using these days the blockchain technology as well, and that has been a great push for the sector to not just focus blockchain as only a cryptocurrency, but also a kind of a distributed ledger system that actually is helping all the companies to get connected with and have a clear visibility across the supply chain. So these are many of the innovation or transformations that have we are seeing these days in terms of digital transformation in supply chain. And companies like Aramax, DHL, all these companies are implementing these kinds of technology. You call it vision picking. Everything is clearly visual. So, yeah.
Wow. Thank you so much. I mean, yeah.
Am I audible, sir, now?
Yes. Mr. Badwani. Oh, welcome once
Sorry.
again, Mr. Badwani.
Now I can talk. Okay, fine.
Okay. We are very, very happy to have you here once again.
Thank you, sir.
And thank you so much for taking that pain, of getting back. I mean, yeah, thank you so much. So, Mr. Badwani, I have already introduced you to our audience, and they know you pretty well. I mean, and we also know you are a pretty well-known face. So we are talking about, the role of technology into the logistic and supply chain management market. So, Mr. Badwani, you seems to be very fine and comfortable right now. So let me just quickly jump into the question and ask you what are the supply chain risks and how these risks can be minimized, especially in post-COVID times, keeping in mind the digital transformations.
Exactly. Good evening, all of you. First of all, I'm really sorry for this inconvenience because of some technical issue I was just facing in talking this. Now, I just want to start this. My name is Vijay Vadvani. I'm from Relaxo Footwears. what I'll do, Dr. Joshi and the team, I will discuss on my practical experience rather than talking the bookish talk and
Sure.
the supply chain meanings and all. But I will talk what the problem we are facing or what solution we are finding from our the supply chain issues.
Right. Yes, sir.
First of all, I just want to take about if you talk about the supply chain risk. As we know in supply chain, in my study also, in the journal studies also, 75% companies are talking about they face at least one supply chain risk in a year. That the thing is there. Whatever problem, as we have seen this pandemic period, we have seen. If you talk about supply chain risk, means not only pandemic, in generally. If you talk like recently, we are facing this Ukraine and Russia war is there. Before that, Kisan Andolan was there, then transportation problem, this, if we see the strikes and whatever issues we are facing, the supply chain, the risks are there. So what the thing, as I discuss, I just see, in generally, if you talk about the supply chain risk, the one is this poor supplier performance. That is the very important part the companies are facing sometime because the raw material procurement, they are facing problem in hiring, purchasing the raw material. That's the problem they are facing. Second is this forecast error. The second big issue as companies are facing the forecast error. If you talk like I'm talking about the relaxo footwears, like we are dealing with large number of SKUs. We are FMCG, now we become the fashion industry today. If I talk about my company, we are dealing with more than 10,000 SKUs and producing 1 million pair every day. They're the large SKUs. And you know, the fashion design, because of the fashion industry, lot of designs are day by day is changing. So when we do our forecasting, ideally 70%, if your forecasting is okay, then you can survive. Because we just study what is the on time in full. At the time of order, when we receive the order from customer, your order should be fulfilled. Whether I'm talking about the wholesale business, now we are, because in coming time, the e-commerce boom is there, then we think on that, retail business, export business. But the second is a very important part is the forecasting. Thirdly, if I say the transportation breakdown, that the big thing is there. Like in our company, we are the Pan India, our supplies in the all India, we have a large number of distributors in throughout the India. And if I talk about the retail, we have retail outlets. So supply on time, means, and the thing is in our company, we deal in high volume, low cost product. So these three basic things are very important where we have to focus. What we do here, sir, like I'm talking about post pandemic, I'm just talking about. We actually in our company, we do our annual operating plan. According to plan, we decide what the sale is possible and what the product are required and what kind of, we see the past data, past performance and the requirement. We study the market also. As I know about the supply chain, we have to understand about the market first. We should know our market. We should know about the customers, where our target consumers are there. If you are focusing on agriculture, rural market, so we have to see their taste and their requirement, and that we have to plan accordingly. So what we did in our studies, sir, and my own experience during the pandemic, before pandemic and after pandemic, suddenly the demand is changed. We have three kind of product. We have brand like Sparks is our brand. In addition to Sparks, we have Bahamas, another product, and the Flight is and Pew is the products are there. So we have seen the product mix suddenly got changed. The requirement, what we were receiving, what the inventory we had, suddenly it got changed. Then we were not fulfilling the requirement. Our forecasting error was 30%, 35% to it is suddenly down to 70%. Means 30% requirement was according to the requirement what the stock inventory we have. So focus we require to change our production planning according to the need, new requirement. Because we have seen our wholesale business is got down. Our business, overall business performance was okay, sir. We have achieved our target, but our sales is diverted to the e-commerce. Like Amazon kind of customers, the sale 20 crores, suddenly the demand started to 60 and 70 crore. Means our e-commerce demand when increased, then we have studied the what requirement is there, then we saw the Bahamas demand is suddenly increased. That was not even in our history, it was. So what we do here, and secondly, the big what problem we face because of the pandemic issues, some supplier we had some suppliers, they were not in position to supply the requirement. What requirement we asked, they were not in position. So what we do here in our company, sir, first we find, sir, I would say here a smarter supply chain.
Okay.
And a smarter supply means what today the demand is there, because when we had one business and second today the business is increased, so new supply chain would require according to the market need. So what we started here, sir, I can say we have identified our supply chain problems, what the problems we had, identification, and we have prioritized. We have developed a committee within the team, and the committee means because the key HODs, other departments involved, we got involved, and then we decided what the problem we are facing. Then after the problem, then we quantified the problem. So many problems we will find, in out of these 10 problems, we have seen which is the big problem which we are facing at present. So we identified, then we have started responding the problem, how to sort out this problem, and then mitigate. That mitigate, we have planned our strategies to face, and suddenly that we did, and corrective action when we took on time, then our demand fulfilled and we achieved our target. So in supply chain risk means we have to focus continuously what is the situation of market where we are facing. So we have taken some corrective actions also, sir. A correcting action means
Well, thank you so much. I mean, that was really okay. Yeah, please go on. I mean,
one only, sir, we have started thinking we should have option in our suppliers, option in our vendors. In vendor development, one supplier is not be able to supply the good, then you should have the second option should be in our hand. In transportation also, one transporter is not capable, then second transporter, second option should always be available with you to fulfill your demand. So according to that, we especially are focusing on the supply chain risk and fulfilling our requirement according to the market, sir.
Okay.
This is the problem.
Yeah, thank you so much. I mean, that was highly enriching. And so, I mean, what you have said in detail, I mean, I have understood 2-3 things from there. First thing, e-commerce plays an important role, and digital transformation is also playing an important role, to just, boost up the e-commerce in the market in developing as well as in developed countries. And the second thing, which is really important, we should have our own customized, localized plans. Plan A,
perfectly fine, sir.
Plan B and Plan C. So, ladies and gentlemen, from here itself, I'm thinking from India's perspective right now. So, my quick follow-up question to you, Mr. Tiwari. I mean, very briefly, I mean, how do you think the national logistic policy that was launched recently is going to help LSCM professionals in India as well as abroad?
So, thank you for the question. That's a very interesting question, Dr. Joshi. So, this national logistics policy, right? This was long pending, and recently on 17th of September, the policy was introduced, right? So just a brief of the policy. Basically, the complete focus, is on the logistics sector. Currently, India, with respect to logistics performance index, India fares slightly poorly, I would say. It's at a rank of like 44. So the goal is to bring India to within to 25th position, like within next couple of years. Our logistics cost, as compared to global standards, is at least 6 to 8% high. So the goal is to bring that cost down. The model mix, right, is not at all favorable in case of India. Currently, we have road, which is approximately 60% of the total model mix, followed by rail, which is approximately 25, whereas it should be the other way around. And then there is focus on the multimodal transportation also. So all of this, part of the new logistics policy. Now, how it is going to help professionals in the logistics industry. So the focus is on bringing the cost down. Once the cost comes down, it makes the Indian market competitive. The Indian suppliers, traders, manufacturers can integrate themselves in the global supply chains, which obviously increases the demand. And when the demand increases, then new employment opportunities get created. So that's how it's going to, indirectly going to help in terms of employment generation. And we have already started seeing, basically attraction. Companies like DHL, FedEx, these companies are basically planning, investments in India. Like DHL recently planned like 500 million euros, in setting up, their warehouse capacities, bringing up, like their workforce from current, 12,000, 25,000 by 2025. So it's going to be an interesting time. It was long due, and eventually we have the policy in place. It's going to bring everyone together, including the policymakers, the industry, everybody together, and eventually it's going to help in employment generation in the sector. So yep.
Oh, I mean, that was very precise and crucial information, Mr. Tiwari. Thank you so much. And since you were talking about the opportunities when you were speaking, then I was thinking at the back of my brain, I mean, like, about the opportunities for the male and female, both equal or unequal. I mean, what happens actually? So a quick follow-up question is for Mr. Wadhwani. I mean, Mr. Wadhwani, very briefly, can you please just, let us know a little bit about, what are the opportunities for women in logistic and supply chain sector?
Sir, one important thing I just want to say here, in my earlier experience, 10 years, 1 decade earlier, people were not preferring women in supply chain field because in the warehousing, transportation, they always feel that this is the laborious work. The job is to deliver the goods. Hard work is required always. But today time is changed, sir. People have seen the women are giving good contribution in supply chain. Supply chain is becoming a very important part of the industry for success. I remember, sir, in one time I was in a big CEO level meeting, and the people I was just talking, the executive assistant of CEO should be from supply chain. So all the CEOs were saying no, CEO from the supply chain only. There's a big scope. Because supply chain is the person, sir. I would say here, supply chain person is, they know market. They understand the market. They know the product and the where product is going and the what future is there of the product. That understand that. And they understand the technical parameter of the product also. So they are coordinating with marketing as well as operation. So supply chain person is in between the organization. So he is very special person for the organization who know what is marketing, what is the operation, where the profitability is there. Suppose there's a large SKU, any company who takes it, they have product that the contribution margin sometimes is very high. So they know what the desire of the organization, what the vision of the organization. According to the vision of the organization, they decide which product they have to put in market. They have to focus which product would be required, whether profit is required, a market spread, we have to spread our product in market. So women are very important in planning part, I would say. Sir.
I mean,
I have seen.
Please go on.
Yeah, I have seen, sir, in my one study also, 20 the women, what they were in number of women were in supply chain today, more than 20% rise in women's area I have seen.
Wow.
And mainly in the forecasting part, they are giving good contribution as compared to other people, sir. They are, so like in our company, the different stories here, sir, we are in large SKUs, many SKUs are the fashion industry, and women are very master in fashion. They know what product should be in demand and what design and what article could be sold in high quantity. So they have their own common sense also to decide which product would be in high demand. So in product development, in supply chain, all they are contributing a good. So I would say women are giving good contribution, and in future also, even sir, not only in the forecasting part and the planning part, in my warehousing, transportation, the technology, the software design and development is required. WMS we are implementing. So women are giving good contribution, not in the laborious work. Even they are very good giving performance in supervision of this operation and the dispatch area also. So women actively are involved. There is no difference between women and men for the supply chain part. So the future is there for the women especially, I would say.
That's Wow, that was marvelous. I mean, that was a fantastic response to my question, Mr. Vadvani. And let me tell you, ladies and gentlemen, one more thing. You know, I have visited European countries as well as in the USA. For several years, and I have seen no difference. I mean, in logistic and supply chain anywhere around the world. In between, you know, there is no gender bias at all. Even I would say one more thing. I mean, like, you know, in the US market, especially, women are considered as the better planner than the men's because I don't know the reasons, but they have a huge market. They have a huge demand for the people, those who are in the planning as well as those who can execute the things really well. Thank you so much, Mr. Vadmani. And now I will quickly come to our in-house expert once again, Dr. Shantanu. Since we are talking about, you know, the what is required in the market. I mean, Mr. Vadmani and Mr. Tiwari, they have already given an emphasis on, like, you know, what is happening around the world as well as in India. So the thing is, you know, just I need to, hear just a bird's eye view kind of, you know, perspective from an academic perspective from you. What is the most in-demand skill? What are the most demand skills, I would say, to excel in the area of logistic and supply chain sector? From you, over to you.
So so there are multiple skills that are required, and it is not that because it is a entire supply chain, so it is not that you have to be expert of all, but there are multiple skills that you can excel upon. Like one of the skill is the one important skill that you need to develop is the analytical skill.
Wow.
So how you able to identify the problem, and if you are able to identify the problem, your half of the problem is actually solved. So
Wow.
if you are able to identify the problem and
Yeah.
how you are progressively trying to solve it, so what are the continuous improvement measures you are taking, plus there are skills like modeling.
I mean,
how you can completely model an entire supply chain. Where would be your distribution network? How would you plan your entire manufacturing setup? How will you be managing or modeling your entire transportation network? So modeling is one of the aspects. Second thing after modeling comes the simulation. When you have developed a model, how you are trying and testing it before completely going to the market. As explained by Mr. Vijay sir, that this modeling and forecasting plays an important role. So forecasting is another skill that is highly in demand. Like companies like Rivigo, they are spending enormous amount of investment they are doing into integrating technology in identifying and doing a lot of analytics in terms of supply chain and logistics to identify the loopholes, the bottlenecks, the nitty-gritties of every aspect of logistics, last mile delivery. That is why you might have seen the companies like Delivery, Expressbees, all these companies are doing a great job in logistics and supply chain domain. And these are some of the skills, whether you are a procurement professional, whether you are a logistics professional, whether even and adding on to what Vadvani sir was telling about the women's contribution. Even when I started my career initially, when I started applying for job, there were even profiles that were mentioned that these are the profiles that are especially preferred. Women or female candidate will be preferred. Let's say, for example, procurement. So even they are profiles that are specifically fixed for the women, and even they are given preference. So it is not just that it is any male-dominated industry or it is laborious. So people, both male and female, might not work, but it is because multiple profile and being industry agnostic, or this LSCM being industry agnostic, you can and you use whether it is manufacturing, whether it is IT consulting, whether it is research. So you plethora of opportunity is there, and the skills that you require I have explained earlier as well.
Yeah. Oh wow, that's great. Thank you so much. I mean, that gives me an impression that, it is a kind of diagnosis area. If you do the right diagnosis, if you just do the right execution, and if you are able to do the right forecasting for that, so you are going to be a great player in LSCM area, I think. So my next, just a quick follow-up question for you, Mr. Tiwari. I'm just trying to understand, what are the key profiles that are hired in LSCM areas, especially in Indian context. And what makes an applicant a must-hire candidate? Very briefly.
So yeah, again, an interesting question. So with respect to hiring for, logistics and supply chain, there are so many areas, none of the areas in the company where, like an expert in logistics and supply chain can't get into. Right from, an entry level position to the CEO, as, Mr. Wadhwani said, right? Where, even CEOs are, logistics and supply chain management professionals are given, preference with respect to CEOs or COOs, that kind of profiles. So if I break it down, right, so there is demand planning, there is procurement, there is, production planning, and even logistics and supply chain. These resources can, uh, basically play very good, roles with respect to sales also, because they
Right.
know, they are aware of their product, they are aware of their market, they are
Right.
aware of, their suppliers, they are aware of their consumers, right? So they know, and they are aware of the competitors also. So that's
Right.
where, they can play a very good role with respect to sales as well. Then there is, operations where they can play
Okay.
a very good role, right?
Okay.
Along with that, because um, so there are specific profiles like, someone, uh, basically skilled in inventory management, someone skilled in
Okay.
procurement, that kind of
Okay.
profile. But
Okay.
then there are generalists in supply chain who has the bird's eye view, right? Who can be very good consultants, very good business analysts, for companies, who are providing consulting in supply chains, for example, Accenture or, Deloitte, this kind of companies. There can be, business analysts, there can be functional consultants, as I said, this is the right time to be, in the technology with respect to the supply
Right.
chain. So there
Right.
are, all sort of profiles, who are given preferences basically, in
Right.
case they have the, know-how. Because
Right.
I have worked in industry for, so many years, so I understand there is a gap, with respect to basically software companies and the business know-how, and that's where, these logistics and supply chain professionals are bridging that gap.
Oh,
They
okay.
know their customers, they know their customers business as well, and they can
Right.
translate those requirements into, softwares. So
Perfect.
it's,
Very nice.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah, thanks. I mean, like, so I'm still trying to understand it. And as an expert from Mr. Vatmani, I mean, very quickly, if let us say, for example, if I am an applicant, if I am the candidate, then what two things are required for me to be the best candidate from an industry expert? Let us say you are my, I mean, in my interview committee, and I'm a candidate. And what are you looking for in me? Just two things very briefly.
For the selection of
Yes, sir.
supply chain, okay.
Yes, sir. Yep.
So see, what we do here, the person should have market knowledge first, I would say here.
Okay.
Before knowledge, depending in which industry you are working and what the knowledge the person is having in the same industry. The first is, and before that, sir, what we focus. Just I can give one example of Tata Steel, one ad. We also sell steel. That the example I'm just giving here. I see the person before the knowledge of supply chain, what the knowledge of industry he has, and before that, what kind of attitude and behavior he is having.
Wow.
It's a very important part, I would say here. In my supply chain studies, whether you are in supply chain or any industry, any department, before all the knowledge that you have to be skilled people first.
Right.
In my company, we always focus on training and development part.
Wow.
And training and development part means in-house training, outside training, but the training important is first, sir, we hire the person that I have seen the many things in practical experience. I'm just saying we are hiring person from Premier Institute also. Right from the first day we start giving the job to do this job.
Right.
I here want to mention here in this present company and my previous company, I worked in Vardhaman also. Vardhaman Threads I'm talking about. I started my career from Vardhaman, sir. Okay. I was at the central marketing office, but taking care about the supply chain part.
Okay.
The company philosophy was to hire the person as an executive trainee or management trainee, but don't give the job for 1 year at least.
Oh, okay.
1 year, he will just understand the company, he will understand the market,
That
because
makes
he is a
sense.
fresher joining company. He has done MBA, or he is postgraduate from MSc or MSc or whatever field he has done. But he first has to understand the market first.
Right.
He should understand the market, he should understand the company, product, then the field. So what we do here, we just depute him. When I hire the person, I just see their what the intellectuality, what his focus, mindset, what is his mindset. I don't see, we don't ask what is the supply chain, what is the, before that, I just see the person, quality of person, the talk, is the behavior, is the knowledge. But I see the person quality only. Then we depute him for the proper induction program. If he is an experienced person of 10 years, 15 years, then we give 10 days or 15 days induction program. He will work for the all induction. If he is the person is a trainee, then we will give him complete at least 6 month time for understanding the company and product and the other departments. That kind of work culture we have developed here. And not only the senior people, the junior, the blue collar worker we have, sir. One is the manpower, the white collar manpower and blue collar. We also focus on the blue collar manpower. We give them proper training to get the high productivity in work, sir. That kind of system we have developed in our company.
To become the white collar people. That's the best.
Improving manpower. That is the manpower is our asset, sir. So they have to give all motivation, what the possibility is. Then you will automatically get the good results.
I mean, definitely you need to invest in your, people. That's the biggest, the mantras. That is the biggest, one of the biggest mantras, in such
time to time motivation is required, sir.
Definitely. Thank you so much. So now we are almost running out of the time. So we are getting so many questions in the chat. Ladies and gentlemen, we will answer all those questions. We will cover all of them. But very quickly, I will just get to Dr. Shantanu here. Very quickly, very briefly in 30 seconds, Dr. Shantanu, how an online MBA can help? Because we are talking about the market. We are talking about the skills. We are talking about each and everything. What attitude do we need to get into the job? But we did not talk about, what kind of programs we need, number one. Number two, if you, do any MBA program, like let us, for example, this online MBA program. So can you just let us know a little bit about how an online MBA can help supply chain professionals stand out, and what all instructional and pedagogical material you provide at CCE to make professionals, do the best out of their degree?
Yeah. So quickly coming up, why an online MBA program? So starting with first point is it's cost effective. Second point is it is flexible. So you don't have to leave your job and again join a program. You can work and you can join the program as well. So you can manage your work-life balance. Third important thing is that as per the latest UGC recommendation that you have got, that a degree in an online or distance learning program is actually equivalent to a degree done in a regular program. So whether it is a PSU, whether it is a private organization, whether it's an MNC, all those will be regarding the online degree and a regular program degree as an equivalent. So a lot of opportunities are there. People are taking admissions in these kinds of program, and with the advanced technological systems, like one of the technology that in our pedagogy we use, the learning management system, or LMS we call it. So the LMS or learning management system that we at CC UPES adopts is the Blackboard. And you will be surprised to know that Blackboard is one of the, you can call it an Hummer of learning management systems. It is like that kind of system which gives you the flexibility to not only attend classes, use resources in the system, but also can give examination and assessments as well. So our program has, or the program that we offer, we have doubt clearing sessions for students. In our pedagogy, we have live lectures, not only from the academic people from academic background, but also from the industry. Plus, we have divided our entire pedagogy into 4 quadrants, and that quadrant or module-based learning or development program has actually helped to not only cater to the students' requirement, but also in doing and understanding the students' requirement, like what are the problems that they have faced. So we have dedicated student support system, which works very beautifully, and they have given a strict deadline to resolve the issues as well. So we have a pedagogy in which everything is online. You just have to come, you just register with us, attend everything and do everything online, and just come at the convocation and get the degree. So, yeah.
Sir, I want to mention one more important, very good, Shantanu is well said, but two more points I just want to mention here,
please,
sir.
Please.
For sir, e-learning, I want to talk about the online MBA is very important. People are now, company are understanding, and earlier we were asking ki person should be regular MBA. Now we are just in thinking to the person, because middle management cadre, online management MBA are more important. And I just want to mention two things important here. One is, as I am from the company, I am just telling the people the online MBA that is important for us, equally important, I would say, that is one. And second, I would suggest here for the online MBA student that one is the time management should be very important. They have to balance their, because they have lots of other activities. They must be doing some work and studies here, there. So they have to manage their time management. Second is, importantly, I just understand for the people, they themselves think themselves ki how they can be organized, how they can be committed, how they can be motivated. So in addition to their routine work, in addition to their study online, they should concentrate on their hobbies also. When they work on hobby, they will see how we will get motivated. Because if they have work as well as this online study plus some family responsibilities also, so they will get confused. So spare your time for motivation part, their own motivation. That is very important. So one is time management, have to take time for this, and second is they have to organize, think themselves what they should do. That important. But I would say here very confidently, online MBA people are required in the organization. I'm talking about the renowned company. They are thinking, Nestle kind of people, Relaxo. We are just in thinking, Britannia. We are focusing on online MBA people also. They are more organized people. I would say that one is doing that they also are important. They may not have this campus experience also, but the only one thing is they don't have campus experience, but they are more organized because they have done their job as well as their studies also. So they are more responsible. I would say that. So nothing to worry. The future is there, I would say.
Oh, thank you so much, Mr. Vadmani. That was a great value addition to what Shantanu said. I mean, see, I can see that. I mean, what you were saying, I mean, that the person who can make a balance between three things, their job and their family and their studies, they are the best people, and those are the people required right now, ladies and gentlemen, in supply chain industry. Okay, let me just quickly tell you about the chat. What is happening on the chat box right now? There are so many questions coming up. Prince, thanks for your question. And Chitrita from our team, she's responding to all the questions. If you have any more questions, you can, write in the chat, and you can write us directly through the email. And Chitrita, can you please provide an email ID where they can write us regarding the program? So many questions are there regarding the programs. So many queries. So other than that, I'm just picking up the queries very quickly. Shiva is asking a question. Is the software helping, to improve demand and supply coordination? I think he's talking about the e-commerce or digital transformation. So, does that help? Definitely, yes. That makes a huge difference, Shiva. And some other questions are there. And another question is, how can MBA from Indian Institute help, to get a job outside India? And what are the challenges in that? Anyone, I can see Mr. Tiwari is smiling. If you can respond to that question very quickly, then we will get back to Mr. Vadmani. Yeah, very quickly, very briefly. Yeah.
So basically, the nature of business does not change, whether it is in India or whether it is like abroad, right?
Right.
And okay, so sitting in Bangalore, I analyze, business processes for airlines across the US, Canada, Europe, Southeast Asia, China. So, so basically, it's not, like where you do your MBA from. It's the skill that you acquire, that actually helps. And the nature of business does not change. So, basically supply chain for one company is not different from supply chain for another company. Procurement for one company is not different. They have the similar set of challenges, similar set of skill sets required. So in case you get this kind of an education, it's going to help you everywhere.
Right.
And I know people who are working abroad and who are basically excelling in their career, and they have done this MBA from UPS, MBA in Logistics and Supply
Oh,
Chain
wow.
Management from UPS. So there are examples,
We know.
so
Yeah,
I
we know so many
would,
alumni,
yeah,
they are working abroad right now. Yeah, you are very
absolutely,
correct. Yeah, Mr. Tiwari. Yeah. And there is one more question. Will there be any webinar schedule on procurement topics in coming days? Yes, sir. We are going to have those webinars, and stay tuned with us. And some more questions are there. I mean, the question, if you can write those questions directly to us on that email ID, that would be great. We have 2 more minutes, ladies and gentlemen, and if you have any more specific questions, please write those into the chat, or you can write those questions to us. But before we go for the day, for the rest of the day, I have very quick closing questions for our panelists here. The first question goes to Mr. Vadmani. Just very quickly, one tip for online MBA aspirants. Just one, maybe the best tip on this earth.
If you ask one thing, sir, that flexibility is the point, sir. It is if they want proper concentration in their work as well as their experience, because the online MBA person is having parallel, they have experience also. So it would be better, sir.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Mr. Vadmani. The flexibility about your schedule, flexibility about your career, flexibility about your education, flexibility about everything around you, that makes a difference, Mr. Vadmani. Thank you so much. And very quickly, Mr. Tiwari, I'm coming to you as an alumni of CCE. What is your experience, very briefly, of earning a degree from UPES? If you can just summarize it in one line, what it would be?
I would say it was awesome. I basically got placed from the campus. There were so many, apart from academics, there were so many, personality enhancement programs, like a focus on basically overall development of the personality.
Right.
I got, recruited right from the campus with, very good companies. And it's been a smooth sailing for me. And not only that, wherever I have gone, I have ensured that we are hiring people, and initially when we went into the industry, UPS for logistics and supply chain management was slightly new. But now industry understands when it comes to logistics and supply chain management. There is a college in Dehradun, University of Petroleum and Energy Studies.
Okay.
And like I keep getting inquiries from many people. Like if you have connections, whom you like, you can refer. So that's the kind of basically market situation currently that we have. And frankly speaking, UPS is known for not only for oil and gas and power management or energy trading, but logistics and supply chain is one of the premier courses for UPS, I would say, that is recognized across the industry, across India, basically, I would say.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Tiwari. And you are a proud alumni. I know that. And very quickly, I'm coming to. We are running out of the time, ladies and gentlemen. To Dr. Shantanu, in one line, in one sentence, why someone should choose to enroll at your institution? One sentence.
Yeah. So it's UPES. It's a kind of brand that has been created, and the LSCM program is a flagship one. If you talk about and if you will be proud to know that UPES is is among top 65 institution or universities in India. Plus, we have got a NAC grade A, and the online program that we are offering in logistics and supply chain primarily is, it is not a new program. It has been running successfully for almost a decade. Plus, we have almost more than 570 to 80 plus companies network with us, where our alumni are placed. Plus, we have almost our alumni in 21 countries.
Oh.
So it is not one more thing that I want to add about the logistic supply chain program that UTS offers is that it is not just the domain-centric approach that we offer or the domain-centric courses that we offer.
Right.
We make them the future ready or the transformational managers, not the transactional ones. So we have, we also provide them career planning programs, like collaboration with how to create your LinkedIn profile or improve your LinkedIn profile, how to create your resume, how to crack an interview, what are the skills or personality enhancement activities that you need to hone on. And in fact, you will be happy to know that we are also launching some program of student engagement. Like earlier, the regular students, they come into campus, they have some events and activities, etc. We in the online domain are also offering students with extracurricular activities. So we are planning that as well.
Okay. So, I mean, there I said one sentence. I mean, Dr. Shantanu, you said so many sentences, but those were going just on and on. I mean, and I'm just like, what do I call it? Amazed to listen to all of those. Thank you so much for that comprehensive response to my question. So, ladies and gentlemen, here is the time when, now we have come to an end of today's webinar. I take this opportunity to thank our speakers and you all. I mean, thank you so much, Mr. Tiwari. Thank you so much, Mr. Wadhwani. And thank you so much, Dr. Shantanu. He's an in-house expert though, but he has done a lot of effort to just bring this whole webinar in front of you. And I also thank, ladies and gentlemen, the back team, like our support from the team Edology, which is a global edtech brand that provides industry-powered global education, and for bringing this whole webinar event to you live. And last but not the least, I thank you all once again for taking out time and actively listening to all of us, and hope to see you all soon. And bye-bye, and have a fantastic evening ahead. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you so much. Thanks, everyone. Bye.